yesterday we talked about all the features of the digestive system in terms of its function, in terms of just like what is it for, what's mechanical versus chemical digestion, all those good things. And we ended with the salivary glands, right? So let's talk about that. The salivary glands, you have lots of them in your tongue, right? And then you have two sets that are like outside the tongue. So sublingual, where do you think that is? Sublingual. What's the word lingual mean? Tongue, good. So underneath the tongue, you have a couple right here. Okay, you see it? We also have submandibular, which means below the jaw bone. Okay, and the parotid, which is the giant one next to the parotid duct, or the parotid duct comes out of it and it feeds into the mouth. That parotid gland is the one that produces the most saliva, the most watery saliva. On the exam, I'm going to have you know which gland is better suited for which environment. Do you need more mucus? Do you need something in between? Or do you need more watery saliva? Okay? So that's going to be what's expected. All right, so saliva in general is 95.5% water. The remaining percentage, if you do math, 100 minus that is 4.5. Is going to be mucus, ions, enzymes, and waste. Okay? Saliva's purpose is to moisten the food. We call the bolus. Okay? So it turns it into bolus. Bolus is like the ball of food with the mucus and the saliva. And it also starts the process of chemical digestion of carbohydrates. So let's highlight that in our enzyme highlighter. So recall from yesterday, we had certain highlighter colors. One of them was for all the enzymes we're going to start. Okay? So if we go back through here, we see that I've already highlighted two. This one, lingual lipase, and salivary amylase. Okay, so those are the two enzymes that so far I have addressed in the lecture at some point. Lingual lipase, if you recall, is one of the ones that is made in the mouth and then it's activated in the stomach. It's activated somewhere else. We call that a classification of enzyme called a zymogen. Take a look at the board. It says the word zymogen. Zymogen means it's made somewhere and then it's not activated until somewhere else, until it's got to the sweet spot, okay? Lingual lipase is an enzyme that digests fats, but it's not going to digest them in the mouth. We need it to digest where the pH is low, the stomach, okay? However, not all enzymes are zymogens. Not all enzymes are made somewhere and then activated somewhere else. Some enzymes are made in a good place, like salivary amylase. This one right here. This is the one that digests starch. Its optimal pH is around neutral. Optimal means it works the best in that environment. So at a pH that's neutral, salivary amylase works the best. It's the GOAT, okay? It's going to start breaking down some of those starches that you are consuming. Who here likes bread? Who here likes pasta? What else is starchy? Donuts? I know some of us love donuts. Donuts, okay? All of those things are your complex carbs. Salivary amylase will be your guy or gal. Maybe gal, because it says Amy in there, so it's like, I think of it like a girl enzyme. She's breaking down all of your starches you're consuming, okay? And she's going to start working in the mouth. This Amy. Get it? Amy? Her name is Amy. See? Salivary amylase. Amy. That's the enzyme. Okay. All right, so let's scroll. Where it says begins chemical digestion of carbohydrates, it's going to be salivary amylase. Salivary means it's starting to be made in the saliva, okay? Or it's made by the salivary glands. So Amy loves bread. Amy loves pasta. What does Amy like? Starches. So that's what she breaks down. That's the enzyme. Okay? So can anyone tell me what's the optimal environment for Amy to work? Acidic, basic, or neutral? Neutral. Very good. So she likes a neutral environment. So like the mouth is a good neutral environment. Okay? So the mouth is between 6.35 and 6.85. So that makes sense that Amy works in this pH environment. Will Amy work in the stomach? No, she will deactivate, she will melt. She will not be very useful anymore, okay? Other things that saliva do, other than moisten the food and provide us with salivary amylase, it provides us with ions that serve as buffers to help control the pH. Because I don't know about you, but I like things that are not very bland. I like spicy food. Who likes spicy food? Yeah. Who likes citrus or oranges and lemons and all that? Yeah. Garlic. Garlic. Okay. All of those things mess with the pH of neutral. They either make it too acidic. Well, yeah. In all cases, they usually make things too acidic. Okay. So then your saliva, its job is to maintain pH when you're throwing, hot Takis at it, or you're throwing lemons in your mouth, okay? You're trying to maintain that pH, okay? That's what these ions do, these buffers. They help maintain the pH. So let's go ahead and highlight buffers and highlight what they do. They maintain the pH. So when you're hitting it with the spicy, salsa, you're hitting it with the, the lemons and the oranges, your body can maintain pH, okay? Another thing is the lysozymes. But first, I need to write in the blanks here. Main digestive enzyme is salivary amylase. And what does Amy like? Amy likes bread. I'm going to ask you one more time, kids. What does Amy like? Bread. Very good. Pasta. So salivary amylase, it breaks down those things in the mouth. Okay, it begins the digestion of starches. And it's not a zymogen. I'm going to repeat, no zymogen for this one. It works where it's made. Okay. There is also one more thing very important in the saliva, and it's called lysozyme. Is there a word in there, a prefix that you recognize? It's usually, something you spray on the table to clean it. Lysol, right? That word came from a biology word that means to break down, to cut through. So Lysol wipes, like they cut through bacteria. To cut through. Lysol, that name of that company, is derived from this prefix, which means to cut through. And what are we cutting through when we're trying to clean up like a mess? We're trying to cut through the bacteria and the viruses to make sure we're clean. So lysozymes you make naturally in your mouth. What do you think that they are doing, my friends, now that we know what Lysol does or lysozymes? What do we think the lysozymes do for your mouth? They are an important blank enzyme. What are we cutting through here? Bacteria. Yeah, so let's write antimicrobial. That word just means we are against the little microbes like bacteria, viruses. So dogs make a lot of this lysozyme. Has anyone ever heard like a dog's mouth is cleaner than yours or something? Because they make a lot of this lysozyme. You make it too, but not as much as dogs. Does anyone wear contact lenses in here? Okay, did anyone tell you what happens if you're stranded somewhere and your contact falls out? What you're supposed to do? You're supposed to put it in your mouth. You're not supposed to put it under water because water has little like bacteria and viruses in there. Like when running water, there's stuff in there. Don't use that. When you're stranded and you lose a contact lens, the best place to put it is in your mouth because you have lysozymes in your saliva. You have good pH in your, the good neutral pH to put it back in your eyeball. Your eyeball is approximately the same pH as your mouth, okay? The worst thing you can do is put it under running water. Good to know, huh? You have antibacterial properties in your mouth. Okay, Questions about that? Saliva. All right, we're gonna, cruise forward. We're gonna talk about teeth. Teeth, my friends, is you get 2 sets in your lifetime, or we call that 2 dentitions. The first set we call baby teeth. Does anyone still have a baby tooth or 2? There's usually one kid who just has a random baby tooth. They can't it's stuck somewhere. Okay, because you're supposed to lose them by the age of 12. You're way older than that. So baby teeth are also called deciduous teeth. Does anyone know why? Where are my tree people? Where? I'm like, there has to be people that know about trees. So deciduous trees are the ones that you see outside in Chicagoland. They're the ones that their leaves fall every season, right? Or every fall season. And then, they grow again and you're like, oh, it's summer. And then the fall time, it's fall time because the leaves are all on the floor. Same with your teeth. Your baby teeth fall out just like deciduous trees. So that's why they're called deciduous teeth. All right. So there's 20 of them. You have 20 baby teeth. And then they appear about 6 months and they lose them between the ages of 6 and 12. Eventually you grow back more teeth. So you upgrade from 20 baby teeth to 32 permanent teeth. Did anyone have any traumatic ways that you would lost your teeth or your parents tried to get them out of your mouth? I'll share one. They put the floss around the tooth and then they stuck it to the door and then they shut the door on me. Not on me, but when they shut the door, the tooth fell out, and it was ah! I'd be screaming. Did anyone else have something like that similar? Traumatic? Yeah. Same way? Yeah, same way. We're alike. Anyone else have a very traumatic way to lose a tooth? Did anyone eat one on accident? Yeah. They do. Those little suckers, they fall out.
I was eating a sandwich and I found the seeds with the tooth.
Gosh. Did it end up coming out later? You know what I'm talking about? It probably did. Yeah. What about you? There you go. That's what brothers are for. All right, cool. I love it. Yeah. Talk about 90s trauma, right? Some of you experienced that too. So, okay, we have 32 permanent teeth. So let's talk about them. We have 8 incisors. Those are the ones that, let's think about it. In means the most medial, okay? So these are the ones that are the 4 up here and 4 down here. That's 8 total, okay? So when you grit your teeth, it's the first here, the front, the incisors, okay? So say, in, middle. Then your sharp, pointy teeth. So if you're looking at I don't know, a vampire or something, it's the sharper ones. Those are your canines. Cuspids. There's another way to write it. Then you have, as you work your way back, you have your flatter premolars. 8 of those. And then you have 12 molars. Okay? So all the different type of teeth do different things. They're there for different reasons. And then we'll talk about the wisdom teeth. So 8 incisors are primarily for cutting through food. Okay? So your original bite, right, is to cut through the food. Then you have your canines. The sharper ones are made for meat or muscles. Okay, so they tear through food. I know, they're what's the difference between tearing and cutting? There is a difference. To tear means to tear through the tissue. So muscle or meat. If you don't know what meat is, it's muscle. Okay. So then we have those. We have the premolars for mashing food. They're flatter. And then the molars kind of crush the food to prepare it for swallowing. Okay. Flat teeth are for mashing and crushing. More of your sharper teeth are for tearing and cutting. Okay, so that's just kind of common sense. Luckily, you have these, so on the exam, you can just take out a mirror and look at yourself. How many do I have? You can count them. I don't really care. Okay, then you have a set of wisdom teeth. Wisdom teeth are basically built in to our DNA, but they are leftovers from evolution. We call vestigial structures. We don't really need our wisdom teeth, but our ancestors did. Okay, because they probably had a different diet and they had different skulls sizes. They had different brains. They had smaller brains than us, our ancestors. Okay, and they had larger mouths and they were probably consuming a different type of diet at that time. But over time, humans have evolved to have larger brains smaller mouths, and we eat different things than they did in the past. Okay, so you have wisdom teeth built in. Some people don't have wisdom teeth at all. But we do have wisdom teeth because they are there as leftovers of evolution. Okay, so has anyone gotten their wisdom teeth out? Raise your hand if you know you have to get them out eventually. Yeah, okay. If you leave them in, you do have a risk of infection because they're not supposed to be there. There's crowding, so it might, make all your teeth crooked. I don't know. I had mine out. All of mine were impacted, which means they were below the gum. So they had to get in there and remove them. I got them done, I think, before freshman year of college. Before I went to college, I got them done. So not fun, but, it is what it is. Questions? Okay. So the tooth anatomy. Here's the tooth. We're going to label eventually. Okay? I'm going to have you label it. So I'm just going to put that out there. I'm not going to label it. You will. Okay? So let's go through the terms. And while we're going through the terms, you can be labeling the tooth. Okay? So let's start with the first thing. The tooth is secured in sockets of bone. So you have two bones that your teeth can be in. Okay? Let me go find my teeth. I actually have my teeth, like a model of them. Where are they? Here they are. Okay. I know this is very strange, but every time I go to the doctor, I ask for samples of my own things so I can show you. Here's my teeth. Okay, so the upper bone, the upper teeth are going to be the maxilla. Let's write that in. Okay, and then the lower bone is the mandible. Okay, that is where your teeth are embedded into. Okay. Okay, so in this, Carl is his name. Okay, you can see the mandible and the maxilla here. Okay, so you can see the teeth are stuck in there, but they have to be stuck into something. The gums. All right, so the soft tissue that is surrounding the bones are called the gingivae or the gums. Okay, you're supposed to floss to make sure that those stay clean and healthy. If you don't, it's called gingivitis. The crown. Okay, the crown is the part of the tooth that is the one that you see in someone else. It's like above the gum line. Okay, so the part that you see in somebody is the crown. Okay. Yeah. So in this person, okay, here is the part that you see, so those are called the crown. The root is the part of the tooth that you don't see, okay? It's stuck in the gum line, so below the root, okay? The pulp is like inside the tooth, okay? It's like this like region inside the tooth that has blood vessels and nerves. Okay. And the pulp cavity is the part of the pulp that extends into the root. We call that the root canal. Has anyone ever heard of a root canal before? It's like a procedure that someone can get done. Basically, they go in and they remove the pulp that person has in the canal or the part, like the root part, and they take it out and they fill it in with something new. Okay. Dentin is a bone-like tissue that surrounds the pulp cavity. Okay. I think that's my word. Surrounds or protects, one of those. Yeah, I'm good. Covering. Surrounds, same thing. And then cementum is going to be the bone-like tissue covering the dentin that's below the gum line. Maybe write that down too. What difference between these two? The cementum covers the dentin, and it's below the gum line. only. And lastly, the outer layer that covers the dentin in the crown and is the hardest substance in the body. Who knows what that is? Everyone's trying to bleach it all the time and brush it. Your dentist always is like, oh, you're going to wear away at this. What's that called? The enamel. Very good. It's one of those things that, like, teeth are strange. Like, you can replace, like, your body keeps up and, like, rebuilds everything else except your teeth. Your teeth is one of the ones that, like, you can't really rebuild. Like, once you rot it away, like, you just have to get new ones. Veneers or something, okay? So now what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and fill this out for me, okay? Go for it. I'm going to go ahead and screenshot this up here so you can use my screen to fill out your picture below. When you got your picture done, give me a thumbs up. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the throat, your pharynx. Not to be confused with your voice box, the larynx. They sound the same. Your pharynx is going to be right at the back of your nasal cavity and your throat, and your oral cavity. We call it the throat, the pharynx. So it's involved, your throat is involved with digestion and respiration, right? So when you breathe. It receives food and air from the mouth and receives air from the nasal cavity. It is a short tube of muscle that's lined with a mucous membrane, and it runs posterior to your oral and nasal cavity, to the opening of your larynx and your esophagus. There's 3 parts over here, so let's write them down. The first part in yellow is the nasopharynx. So that is going to be the part of your throat that is just for breathing, right? Because the prefix for nasopharynx is nasal. What do you think your oropharynx is in the back of? What does the prefix oro mean? Derek, what do you think? Oral, very good, which means mouth. And then laryngopharynx. Ooh, that's a stretch. What do we think the laryngopharynx is going to be behind? The larynx, which is your voice box. Okay? So that is where all these words come from. So larynx, pharynx. No one wanted to say larynx, pharynx, so they made it laryngopharynx. All right, so I'm going to just rewrite nasopharynx. And then switch colors for this darker box. Oh, that did not work. Let's try one more time. I'm just rewriting what the picture says. That last word is a mouthful. Would be a great anatomy spelling bee word. Spell laryngopharynx. You'd be like, That'd be so fun. I totally want to do that this year at Tapestry. An anatomy spelling bee.
Oh, yeah.
For some bonus.
I've seen some reels.
I love it. Maybe at the end of the semester when they really need it. All right. My friends, the nasopharynx is designed to help you breathe. And the oropharynx and laryngopharynx is for breathing and swallowing. Okay, my friends, today we're going to finish off with the esophagus. And then tomorrow we will do deglutition, which is the swallowing reflex. And then that's the first note set. Then the stomach is going to go quicker than this one for sure. Thanks for joining me here. So your esophagus, as the anatomy table shows you, is a short little passageway from your pharynx down to the stomach. Okay, there it is. It is 10 inches long, and it connects, like I said, your pharynx. So let's actually go legitimate laryngopharynx. Like that's the actual part. To your stomach. Okay? It passes through an opening in your thoracic cavity called the mediastinum. This is like throwback to first unit. It enters your abdomen through an opening called the esophageal hiatus. So, you remember how we were dissecting the rat, right? And you were looking for that thin sheet, that thin flap of muscle we call the diaphragm. You guys remember that? In the pig, you're going to find it too. There's a little hole, and the esophagus goes through it. So when you dissect a pig, I'm going to want you to find that, okay? It's called the esophageal hiatus. There are two doorways. There is one doorway here. So here's the upper esophageal sphincter, and then like the doorway is here. So basically it's like an opening at the laryngopharynx, and it says, okay, food's gonna come, and it's like when you swallow, you go, you gulp, okay, and then you push it through that first doorway, the upper esophageal sphincter. A sphincter is a doorway. The food will then travel via peristalsis, or that movement of food, down the esophagus to the second doorway, the lower esophageal sphincter. That second doorway is going to lead the food to the stomach. Now, if you got some real spicy food, you know what I'm talking about? Like, or like really like food that's not supposed to be good for you, like 800 B-dubs wings, okay? And all of a sudden you start to feel it come back. You know what I'm talking about? It's called acid reflux or heartburn. If you haven't felt it yet, just wait. As you age, that wear and tear on your esophagus and that doorway, that lower esophageal sphincter, also known as the cardiac sphincter because it's closest to the heart, or gastrointestinal esophageal sphincter. Either way, all of those mean the same thing. It's the second doorway. Right here, the doorway to the stomach. If you continue to hit it with the spicy food, lots of it, okay, or food that's just not good intestinally, like you know what I'm talking about, you're going to need Tums to take. The Tums are supposed to relieve the acid reflux that you get when the doorway doesn't close right, or maybe you're like putting too much of that spicy food into your stomach, so then the doorway like doesn't shut right, or it's just like it hurts. The acid comes back up, and that's when you feel that heartburn, you feel the pain, okay? That's why our Tums are basic, to help neutralize the acidic environment from the stomach, okay? So, we need to combat those things, and our doorway at the bottom helps us do that, okay? We need to take care of ourselves. The types of muscle in the esophagus, we have the first two thirds is going to be both types, smooth and skeletal, and then the last third is just letting your body take care of the rest, okay? That's going to be smooth muscle. Your body like digests through the wavelength contractions called the peristalsis that propel that bolus to the stomach. The esophageal mucosa will secrete mucus to help lubricate the lining. If you continue to wear and tear at it, though, you stop making it, and then you start hurting a lot, okay? That lower doorway, the lower esophageal sphincter, here are all the other names for it, opens to allow the bolus into the stomach. The second doorway, the lower esophageal sphincter, this LES, doesn't completely close sometimes, so then the contents reflux or come back up, and that is called heartburn. And if it's like a more consistent, long-term chronic thing, we call that GERD, gastrointestinal reflux disease. Okay, and then so some people have to take some heavy-duty Tums that are like more heavy-duty than that to help combat that, because some people are in so much pain that they can't even move because their food isn't being digested right and the acid's coming back up the esophagus. Okay, that, my friends, is it for today. Thank you.